So please, there are some questions from Canvas that we'll be looking at and looking at answering. But first, we want to see if any of you have any questions. You can unmute yourself and ask them, or you can put them in the chat, whatever works for you. Anybody have a question to start us off? I can look at Canvas. One question a student had was, as a freshman, what opportunities are offered by choosing to by choosing to study abroad, and what are the benefits to studying abroad? And then also they asked, how do you begin to study abroad, and what's that process? I don't know, Nee, do you want to start off with any things you can think of that would answer that question?
Sure. Yes. So then options, especially for freshmen, many of the programs that I currently run short-term faculty-led, there's freshman students who are generally interested in that, because short-term faculty is generally anywhere between 10 to about 14 days. So it's it's short, and generally it happens at the end of the semester. So right when winter term is over, generally during the winter break, during spring break, or right when spring semester is over and they have to go right on the program right afterwards. Again, it's 2 weeks long. So that's generally a lot of freshmen kind of look into that, to if they haven't done study abroad, they want to get that kind of feel and taste for it, because faculty generally have a really 2-week schedule set down already, pre-planned already. You're already going with someone who knows the country, knows the language, who's been there before. So it's for those who maybe just want to get their feet wet a little bit. And then Katie, in her programs, will explain more.
Yeah, I can talk about those. So like I mentioned, I work with our UW-Platteville Education Abroad programs and our affiliate partner programs. And then there's Nina's exchange programs, which I can talk to a little bit as well. So for our UW-Platteville Education Abroad programs, there are 6 programs that kind of we facilitate as our programs. They are the American University of Rome in Italy, the Spanish American Institute for International Education in Sevilla, Spain, St. Mary's University in Twickenham, London, Nagasaki University of Foreign Studies in Nagasaki, Japan, the University of Newcastle in Australia, and then the University of the South Pacific, which is in Suva, Fiji. So those are all our programs. They kind of depend on each program of what term you can go. All of them do offer semester options or some year-long options. There are a handful or a couple of them that offer summer or winter options as well. What's included in those varies by program. Some have housing included in the price, sometimes that's a separate cost. So we definitely suggest, if you're looking at those programs, to just kind of compare on our website the different aspects. For the exchange programs, they are typically for semester, or I believe you can do a year, semester or a year. And the big difference between that and the education abroad programs I just mentioned is that you pay UW-Platteville tuition and fees. Housing is a separate cost from that, so that will vary by program, but at least the tuition and fees are the same that you would pay at Platteville. You would pay it directly to Platteville. So that's usually makes it a little bit more affordable for some programs. There's a lot of different ones there, but I can't rattle those ones off the top of my head. I think we have, I want to say, around 8 exchange programs maybe. And then the last one is the affiliate partner program. So those are usually organizations or companies that have that offer different study abroad programs to different locations. So there's API, CCIS, ISA, a bunch of letters, obviously. Obviously they stand for things, but that's what we refer to them as. And they offer different locations than what our UW-Platteville Education Abroad programs or exchange do. Sometimes students want to go to a location that's completely different than any of the programs we offer. And so looking at our affiliate partners is where you should look at for that. I know when I was a student, I studied here at Platteville as well. I studied abroad on an affiliate partner program through CCIS, and I studied in Argentina because I wanted to go somewhere a little different. So that's kind of a quick overview of the different types of programs. Did I miss anything?
Yeah, no, you did very good. I think if you want to get started, best way to get started is looking through our website. We have a search program. You can sit there and go and do a program search to look to see which program fits for you. Sometimes students do go based on their interests, or sometimes students go to a place that's based on their major, so major specific. So if you're looking at something more in engineering or business, you may be looking more towards something that would come back and count for credits for your major. So these are some things that you may want to think about and consider. So we highly recommend, a great place to start is, one, look at our website, see what programs are offered. And then secondly would be for you to work with your advisor. Talk to your advisor so that they can start getting you on a career plan. So if you're a freshman coming in, this is your first semester, you want to go ahead and talk to them to see what courses that you can plan if you're looking to do a study abroad next year, and try to save some of your gen ed courses for that study abroad experience, so you can start focusing on some of your major courses. And of course, third, you come and speak with us when you're looking to say, hey, I spoke to my advisor, he says I'm good to go, tell me, and then you have a good idea where you want to start, then we can kind of help you with the rest in terms of where you like to go.
Yeah. I also want to add, I added the link to our website in the chat, but also it should be linked in Canvas under this course as well. But yeah, definitely looking at our website and familiarizing yourself with the different programs and looking what you'd like. Like Nee mentioned, we have the search option as well. Do students have any questions right at the moment? Otherwise, I can try to look. A student asked about, do you have to speak a language other than English to study abroad? The answer to that would be no. Most or all of the programs offer courses in English, so you do not need to know the language of the country you're studying abroad in. It may be beneficial to know a little bit sometimes, but I know especially like in Europe, you can definitely get by in most countries because most people do speak English there. I know in my experience studying in Argentina, less people spoke English there, but you still could typically get by. It would be a little more difficult, but definitely looking at that, you can go anywhere and only know English. And then let me find another question. Nee, do you have any packing tips for students as far as to prepare for studying abroad?
Well, the nice thing about it in terms of packing wise, when you apply for your program that you're going to, you'll generally will meet with one of us to discuss about the different packing ideas. You'll meet with us for a pre-departure, and from the pre-departure areas, that's when we'll give you a list of items that you should bring with you. If you're going on a short-term faculty-led program, which is a 2-week but led by faculty, you'll meet with faculty, and faculty will help you prepare in terms of what to pack with you. Because again, a 2-week course in the country is very different from a whole semester, which is about 3 or 4 months that you'd be staying there. So we have these pre-departure programs that will help you on the necessary things that you need to pack. Although there are some students who decide they bring something that may never use it. Some people want to pack 10 pairs of shoes because they want to, have different types of shoes for all different occasions. When I wanted to go study abroad, I did exchange program and study abroad in Japan. So I was there for 1 year, actually. I did a whole year. I packed 6 pairs of shoes because again, I knew I was going for a whole year. So I was like, well, I need a running shoe for one casual, one dress, and then one pair of sandal, and then the other two was more like sporting, like basketball if I was going to play, and then another pair of tennies in case the other one wore out. So although in that country you could purchase other items and stuff that you need, like the essentials, but there's some things that I wanted to bring, other things I didn't. I didn't pack a lot of clothes because I knew when I get there I was going to buy a lot of clothes. So like I said, I was going to be for a whole year. Now for 2 weeks, you may leave some space for souvenirs, everything else like that. So again, the packing ideas will be very different from depending on if you're there for 2 weeks versus a semester.
Yeah, and I'd say usually with packing, you just want to kind of weigh what is more important to you. If really having 10 pairs of shoes is that important to you, I guess like making room for that. But I think it's important to also keep room for things you'll bring back. I know like when I studied abroad, I studied in Buenos Aires, which is a more expensive city to study in sometimes, that like clothing is pretty expensive. So I brought a lot of my clothing, not to say I didn't buy some, because I did, but I brought more clothing because I knew it would be more expensive there. So just keeping that in mind as well. Does anybody have a question? You can also put it in the chat if you don't feel like speaking. I'll move on to the next then. The student oh, there's one in the chat. So from past experiences, what are the countries that have more engineering oriented programs, or does it vary? I know a lot of the exchange programs typically have more engineering, but you can use our program search tool to search by major. I would suggest, I think most of you are like freshmen or sophomores. So typically, especially for engineering students, we suggest that they start planning early. I think working with your academic advisor to talk about your desire to study abroad, because then you can kind of plan for that. If you just want to pick a program anywhere that has engineering courses, you definitely can find that. But if you really want to study in, let's say like Spain or in Italy or certain places that may not offer as much engineering, you can save some of your general education requirements and take those while you're studying abroad. That way you can plan for it. But I think there are also some engineering courses offered at the Newcastle Australia program, I want to say. But you can also find some on the affiliate partner programs as well. But definitely taking advantage of that search tool to search by major.
Yeah, I do know that for the exchange program, there's generally two that focuses on engineering. One is in Darmstadt, which is in Germany. I believe there's another one in Netherlands.
Yes.
Our short-term faculty-led one, it does vary, but I know generally our faculty here, Germany and Netherlands are the two that they generally take students because they have their connections already built over there, so they know that. So for civil, if you're thinking about civil engineering, I know one of the short-term faculty-led programs, they go to Netherlands and do cycling and do the infrastructures of the different places from city to city. For mechanical engineering, I know Dr. Simon does one that goes to Germany because last time they went to a BMW plant to look at some of those cars that are being made as well too. So it can vary from year to year for short-term faculty led, but generally, if they've already been built, they generally stay in those particular areas. So Europe is really big on the engineering piece, but they have thought about expanding to other different countries. But again, that's something in the works and plans. So if you are looking into some more engineering-oriented program, again, we recommend that you go ahead and do the program search.
Yeah, and I'm working to grab that link so I can put it in the chat for you guys so you have easy access. Nee, would you want to speak to the requirements to study on short-term faculty led, and then I can follow with the other programs just while I grab that?
Yeah, so requirements for short-term faculty led programming, it does vary, but generally you just need a 2.25 GPA. There are some prerequisite in some of the programs. So again, if you're engineering specific, some of the short-term faculty may have prerequisite where you have to complete a couple courses in engineering in order to attend those. But most of the programs don't need that prerequisite courses. If you're interested in participating in a short-term faculty, generally the faculty will let you know. You will need, of course, your passport. If there's visa that's involved with that, we will help you with that visa, because again, the faculty will know if there's a visa that you need, and they will plan for that. Um, Other important items for you to kind of know is that you still need recommendations. So faculty will ask for a recommendation, one from a faculty member or your advisor. So one of those two will be good to kind of complete your application piece there. But generally, short-term faculty, you necessarily do not have to be a UW-Platteville student. You could be a non-UW-Platteville students to participate in our programs, and you have community members who are interested in participating in some of our short-term faculty programming because of the country they want to go to, and they say, you know, I'll be willing enough to take the 3-credit course and go visit that country. So you will have that as well.
Awesome. Yeah, so for typically the UW-Platteville Education Abroad programs and the exchange, it's varies a little bit by program as far as like GPA requirement and some of the application materials, but generally you have to be a degree-seeking undergraduate student who is currently enrolled in a university. The exchange programs are only for UW-Platteville students, but the UW-Platteville Education Abroad programs are offered to students throughout the United States at different universities. We get a lot of students from La Crosse. We get a lot of students from High Point University, which is in, I think, North Carolina. We also get some from UW River Falls, a bunch of different universities. You have to have completed at least one full-time semester of college at the time of application. And then there's a GPA requirement, which varies, but it's usually either a 2.25, 2.5, and then I think for one program, it might be a 2.75. But we do note on our website and on the application, if your GPA is less than the needed GPA, don't just discount yourself. Let us know, talk with us. Sometimes there's just extra steps in approval that we need to take. Work with you, your advisor, to see if this is the best plan for you, if it's something that works. And then for application requirements, typically there's an application fee and there's course advisement forms. We need a copy of your passport. You have to write a short statement of purpose. There is what we call an ISCAP form, which is an International Study Course Approval Form, which you work with your advisor and department chairs to approve your courses before you go. We need an official transcript, and then you have to sign some different things about responsibility and things like that. You also need 2 letters of recommendation. Usually one, it has to be academic related, so like a professor or advisor. The other one can be anybody, pretty much anybody else, like a boss at a job or something like that. I think that's about it. There's some other little nuances depending on each program. For the affiliate partner programs, there's an application process with us that has a lot of that in there as well, but you also will have to fill out a application with the affiliate partner. But part of their application is getting approval from us, so you can't just go straight to them. You will have to do our process as well in order for your transcripts and your grades to come back. But yeah. Let me see if I can find another question, unless students have any questions, either out loud or in the chat. Otherwise, I'll look for one right now. Okay, so one student asked how much it costs to study abroad. I can talk for the UW-Platteville Education Abroad programs as well as the affiliate partners. Those vary greatly. It depends on the length of your program, the location. So you really will want to look at our website and the affiliate partner websites to see for pricing. We are working on updating pricing for spring 2021, but typically you can look at what we have for past semesters or terms and get an idea. It usually doesn't change too greatly. And then, what was I going to say? I lost my thought. Oh, like I mentioned in the beginning, the main difference for exchange is that you pay Platteville tuition and fees. You will pay housing separately, but the tuition and fees are typically less than they are at another institution because you pay Platteville. Nee, do you want to speak to the short-term faculty-led costs?
Yes. So for short-term faculty-led programmings, we generally ask faculty who are running programs to keep the cost to less than $4,000 per student. So what they generally do, they'll try to program a 2-week course around that price. However, there has been some special incursions in programs that if they're going to different places, a great example would be the Galapagos Island. That program was about $4,700, but again, you're going to the Galapagos Islands, so you're there. So the flight as well as being there for about 8 days, that's what increases the cost. So it really depends on where you're going, how long you're staying. So if you're going, I think one program went to Thailand. They went there for 18 days, so almost 3 weeks, and their program only costs $3,000 because again, you go to Thailand. It's the flight. The flight is the most expensive part, but hotel and food is very cheap. So, but when faculty are planning for it, they generally will plan for that. For scholarships, that's a great question that asks about scholarships.
One second, Nee, can I note one thing? I just want to make for costs, short-term faculty-led, like most everything is included in that cost as far as like airfare, where you stay, not all meals, but a lot of them, different activities and things like that. For a lot of the UW-Platteville Education Abroad programs, the affiliate and the exchange, some of them include housing in the cost, some have that separate. And then also airfare is not included, like your passport's not included in this or short-term faculty-led. So there are outside costs that is listed on our website as well. But yeah, Nee, go ahead about scholarships.
Yeah, so then someone mentioned about scholarships. So for short-term faculty-led, generally faculty will write a few proposals to their department or do some sort of outreach particular piece and find some scholarships for their particular program. We do also have scholarships that are available through our office particularly for short-term faculty-led for the 2-week program. We offer international studies scholarships. But for those who are going for a semester and for a year long, we also offer scholarships through our department area. But because you're going for a semester and for a year, you'll get offered more. Generally, for short-term faculty, you only get anywhere between $100 to about $500 based on student needs. But we do have national scholarships as well as national scholarships that you can apply for, but those national scholarships only apply for a semester or year-long program. So again, if you're thinking about short-term faculty-led, there isn't a lot of scholarships for that, but because of that, because you're only going for 2 weeks and the price isn't as significant.
Yeah, and for other programs, there's a wide variety. Like Nee said, there are 2 UW-Platteville scholarships. They're listed on our website. I put the link in the chat. But you can find those on our website as well. There's also, depending on the program, there are sometimes program specific. So like at our partner in Sevilla, Spain, there are some UW-Platteville student specific scholarships, as well as for some of our affiliate partners, they have special scholarships as well. So looking at the scholarships on our website is always a great place to start and start applying. Like Nee mentioned, there are national scholarships. You can also Google for different scholarships, though those typically are a little more difficult to get because it's the whole nation. It's not specifically for Platteville. So that's definitely something to consider. Does anybody have a question before I move on? All right. A student asked about living accommodations and how that works. For all the education abroad programs, the exchange and the affiliate, it varies by program. 3 of the main options are off-campus apartments, on-campus housing, which are either on-campus apartments or dorms, or homestays. I know our program in Spain is homestay only. Some programs only have 1 housing option, some have a couple options. I always really like to advocate for homestays if that's an option. I did a homestay when I studied abroad, and I think it's really beneficial, especially if you're studying a language. My host mom didn't speak any English, and that really forced me to get fluent in Spanish while I was there. So that's definitely a plus. And then also you get a lot of like local food. You get to know the culture through your host family. So I think that's really a great option. But I know students sometimes like their independence more, and so the apartments or dorms may work better for them. But each program offers different options. Me, how does like, I guess it's not really housing, but kind of housing or accommodation work on STFL?
So for short-term faculty led, generally faculty will provide all the housing information. It can vary. Sometimes there is hosting. Sometimes there's also a possibility of staying at a youth hostel as well too, at hostels, because hotels are more expensive. Again, we want to keep costs for students to be lower. If they had a partnership through another university or institution, then generally you will stay maybe at any of the dorms, that the dormitories or residence halls that they have there at those institutions there as well too. So those kind of accommodation pieces or that is covered, but faculty will definitely let you know which one they choose. Generally, the place that they choose is going to be safe. It's going to be in the area. Sometimes they'll have a hostel, and like I said, there'll be a whole bunch of students that are there. They'll be closer to the downtown area, so you don't have to too much with transportation. Or if they do outside, then they'll be to provide transportation for that. So if you're thinking about Europe-wise, there's going to be transportation that will be provided to get to where you need to go, and that's also included in your cost. So there's not additional cost to that.
Yeah, and like I mentioned before, it depends on the program whether the housing is included or not in the initial cost. So that's something to just pay attention to when you're looking at programs. Any questions? I don't think I'm going to get a live question spoken, but that's okay. You guys can definitely type them in the chat as well. Let me see. Another question is, are there any countries you would recommend for someone completely new to going outside the country or like their state, or like a place that might be easier to adjust to? I did reply to the student kind of saying in Canvas that I think each country has its own difficulties and levels of adjustment. I think it's better to look at more the type of program and the level of support offered by the program. Each program is a little different as far as the education abroad programs and the affiliate and exchange. Exchange, there's a little less what I would call like hand holding. You're a little bit more independent that way. Each affiliate partner is different as far as what they include for support. So you'll want to kind of compare those if you're looking between affiliate partners. And then some of our EA programs are more supportive than others. All of them pick you up at the airport and have orientations. And a lot of them have like coordinators for you to connect to. I know of our UW Flatville EA programs, our partner SAIE in Sevilla, Spain, is probably one of the most supportive, and I know they go above and beyond for students. So that one's a really great option if you're looking for a longer term study abroad, but really want a little bit more support. But then on the other hand, if you want the most support, you would probably want to look at short-term faculty led. And me can speak to that a little bit if you'd like.
Yeah, so if you want something if it's your first time, or you need something that's a little more faculty, that's why a lot of students do short-term faculty led, because the faculty has already been in that country. They already have the contacts in that country. They've either lived there, speak the language. They know the country very well. So again, they will they'll have everything planned out, all the locals, they know the locals very well. So you'll be able to do that. So that's something that you want to get your feet wet. I started off in my study abroad experience in a short-term faculty. We went to Belize. When we went to Belize, I was hooked. And after that, I was like, you know what? Next year, I'm going to do a year-long one. So you may want to try to get your feet wet. It's a great way to try to get your feet wet. When we were in Belize, it was working with indigenous people. So we were out there learning about how some of the indigenous people there lived. We helped some build some huts out there. We were swimming in mangroves. It was a very good experience. And once I had that experience, I was already fired up. I was like, well, I'm gonna go. I'm ready to go out and see the world. So that could be an option there for you. But if you're wanting to go ahead and go straight into a semester in law, I say go for it as well.
Mhm. Awesome. Let's see. So a student asked two questions in one. What countries can you study abroad in, and how many credits do you have to take while studying abroad? To answer the credit one first, because I think that's a little quicker. If you're going for a semester, you'll want to take an equivalent to 12 US credits because that makes you full time. That also makes you eligible for financial aid, so your financial aid can help you pay for your program. The credits in other countries are different numbers than what they will come back here in the US, so you'll just want to be mindful of that and work with like us to figure that out. The thing with short-term faculty led, they're usually about 3 credits, I believe, and it's already figured out to be 3 credits here at Platteville. But as far as like for summer or winterim that isn't short-term faculty led, typically students take between 3 or 9 credits depending on the program. Usually up to 9 is maybe in the summer for a longer summer program, but typically it's like 3 to 6. Do you have anything to add to that, Nee, for the credits?
Nope, I think you explained it pretty well. Now for the only thing with short-term faculty with that credits, the nice thing about that, sometimes some of those programs may count as a course credits. That means for your particular major. So if you are taking an engineering course, you're going on engineering short-term faculty listed abroad, it'll count towards engineering credit, and you'll receive international education credit, which is one of the requirement, general education requirement that you do need going in. So sometimes you get a 2-for-1. And that's kind of the way that we're hoping to do it, get a 2-for-1. So you get, instead of being 3 credits, it counts for 6 credits. So it can help remove some of your general requirement courses that you need to take. So sometimes that happens as well too.
Yeah. And as far as like what countries you can study in, as we kind of mentioned before, there are so many to choose from, and you can use our program search to search by country if you'd like, or by major, or by a couple other things. I would say that UW-Platteville typically allows students to go to countries. I think they have to be less than a level 3. Is that right, Nee?
Has to be level 2 or lower.
Level 2 or lower on the CDC safety level. So that's something to consider if there isn't a program in the country you want to go to. That could be why. I know that you may be able to find some random program off of Google or something, but like typically we won't allow students to do that, and we wouldn't accept the grades. So keeping that into consideration as well. Any questions, students? While I look for another question myself.
Yeah, feel free to ask anything. Don't be shy. We are here to kind of help you through your journey as you are here at UW-Platteville. We want you to have the best experiences possible while you are here.
Yeah, and we're nice. We're easy to get along with. You can also email us, which I can put in the chat as well, our emails with questions. Let me see if I can find another question while he adds that in there. Mm-hmm.
I have a question like for like short term.
Yeah.
So like on the short term trips, let's say it's 14 days, so 2 weeks. Since it's faculty led, is it like what's the ratio of like study to like fun/culture? If that makes sense.
Oh, that's a great question. So we have for short-term faculty, we generally, I let the faculty decide, I guess, when they want to go. So it's usually a third. So for example, a full day, it's going to be everything split in thirds. So it's going to be third, going to be more of lecture. Faculty does lecturing. The other third of the day will be more of discussions or hands-on. So any excursions, museum visits, tour visits. And then the other third is going to be free time. So you will get free time to explore. Sometimes faculty like to mix it up a bit, where they said there's like, today we're going to do all day lecture, but tomorrow you're going to have a whole free day. So you'll do what you like in the city, go and explore. So you will have that, but at least throughout the trip, it's going to be third at like really hands-on type. Third of it is going to be full straight study, full straight lectures, and the other third will be free time for you to be able to go and enjoy. So you will have that opportunity to do that for the 2-week piece.
Awesome.
Good question.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I have one. My major is Spanish, and I know you had talked a little bit about,
Exciting.
studying Spanish, and I didn't know if you knew the requirements. I just know that I have to study abroad for Spanish, so I didn't know like how long it has to be.
I don't know offhand. I want to say it's just that you have to study Spanish abroad. I'm not sure the number of credits, but that I would definitely touch base with your academic advisor for the exact requirements. I can't remember. I also graduated a few years ago, so the requirements may have changed a little bit. I actually double majored in international studies and Spanish, so it was required for my international studies as well. So for international studies, I know you just need some sort of international experience. It could be as little as like 3 credits up to like a full semester or a year or whatever. So I think that really varies. But I would definitely check with your academic advisor, because offhand I can't remember the exact number of credits. But especially if you're studying a language, I highly recommend studying abroad. I took Spanish in high school. I took Spanish for, I think, 1.5 to 2 years here at Platteville before I went abroad, and my fluency increased a lot. Just being forced to use it and use it every day. Like even now, I really don't use my Spanish as much. My boyfriend does speak Spanish, but he for some reason refused to speak it to me. But I use it with his family. But I don't use it as much. But I know I still can do it. I can read still really well. I just have to get back into the swing of it. So I definitely highly recommend studying abroad to learn another language. So. Any other questions?
Good questions. Keep asking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's more fun when you guys ask questions.
Okay, I have one more.
Sure
So
thing.
my major doesn't require it. I'm doing like mechanical engineering, and I went to Germany summer 19, but that was mostly culture. So I have like that on my transcript. Do you think it would be beneficial if I did do a short term in Germany, or do you think that summer 19 will suffice for that?
Actually, I would recommend to do a short term, because the faculty that both faculty members who do the short term that goes for, especially for engineering, it's going to be more hands-on based. So if you're doing something in mechanical engineering, I know, like I said, Dr. Samir does something where they take you on a tour to go either to a BMW plant, or he'll have you meet with other well-known engineers from that country. I know for, oh my gosh, Krista that does the infrastructure in Netherlands, you actually go on cycling. So you go from city to city biking, like anywhere between, 10 to 20 miles a day from city to city, and study the infrastructure. So depending upon that, it's going to be a little more different than you did in 2019. But for this one, it's going to be course credit. So you're going to be studying as well as doing a lot of hands-on. So faculty will definitely highly recommend you to go ahead and join with them, especially for engineering. Good question.
Yeah, great question. Other questions from students?
Yeah.
Kind of running out of questions for
And
ourselves.
it's the same thing for many majors. We have business faculty who take their students to go abroad. We have those who are in agricultural, they take their students to go study abroad. We have those in biology, education, especially for short term. We have different ones for every different area. Right now, environmental science, chemistry is working with the Galapagos right now. So those who are chemistry majors and looking to do Galapagos, that's going to be the hot spot for you. So we will have more in the future. Of course, with COVID, it's kind of, moved things behind, but short-term faculty has been the new wave. We generally have anywhere, last year we had about 16 programs that were planning on going, 16 programs with various different majors. And that's the whole plans for faculty with different majors to take students to go and do a study abroad experience, which I think is great.
Yeah. And speaking of COVID-19, like kind of talking about the elephant in the room, at this time we are planning to have a spring 2021 programs run. That could change. The official decision hasn't really been made. It is looking a little more unlikely for spring just because of the current situation, but it is very fluid, so we'll have to see what officially is decided. But definitely looking towards maybe next summer or the following fall. Hopefully things are settled down a little bit more back to normal for us.
Yeah, same thing with short-term faculty right now. We are planning for summer as is unless things changes. However, faculty are looking to do maybe a virtual study abroad option, so where you don't have to worry to do traveling, but still get that study abroad type experience through the online immersion piece. So we are working on that, so that could be a future option as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and speaking on like virtual options, a lot of you are like early on in your college career, so you have time to probably still have an like full-on study abroad in another country. But I know some students who are looking to graduate in the next semester or two and need an international requirement and didn't get that. I know advisors are being flexible, but also there's going to be virtual options, mainly through our affiliate partners. There are often a lot of virtual programming. I know this current fall semester, we were offering with our partner in Sevilla, Spain, to offer a virtual semester. We didn't get much interest in it at this point, so that didn't happen. But we would look at possibly offering it for the spring as well if spring happened to be canceled. So those virtual options are there as well. Any questions? No. Like I know it's me and my job to like try and get students to go abroad more, but also like we both did study abroad, so we really know how the experience went and like what it feels like to be a student abroad. So you can ask us questions about our experiences as well. But we both really know the benefits that the studying abroad really has. I know for me, it made me a lot more independent and confident. I grew up 30 minutes from Platteville here, and I didn't know how to use public transportation, and so I was scared of the bus system in Buenos Aires, but I learned how to get through it. I got lost a couple of times, figured it out, but it really makes you an independent person, and it gives you perspectives from different parts of the world. It really changed my perspective. I learned so much that I wasn't taught here, so it was really great and it would benefit anybody.
Yep. As for me, it kind of greatly benefit me because I was able to, this is the job I'm doing right now. So I want to, influence and motivate students to go study abroad because I got that experience to be able to do that. And that's the one thing that even my friends who I went to school with, the one thing they regret was that they haven't got to do some sort of study abroad experience. It's something that you could definitely put on your resume. I know if you are in engineering, you're going to be working with engineers from around the world, especially, and you want to get that kind of experience, that hands-on experience type thing. Business-wise, you're going to do international business. You're going to be working with businesses from around the world, financing, accounting. It's great opportunity for you. Even for those who are education majors, just to get the experience, you'll be working with students from different ethnic backgrounds, getting, used to working with that. So agriculture, agriculture is here different in the United States than versus in other different countries and how that works. It's going to be very beneficial for you as you move forward through your career. It will be, because you never know where that's going to land you. And I could tell you all my friends and us that we've all have studied abroad together. We are working in fields that work with some sort of an international piece.
Mhm.
So that could be something if you're interested in wanting to do, that could happen with you as well.
Yeah, we're living in a increasingly globalized world. So like most jobs, well, I wouldn't say most, but there are a lot of jobs that have an international component that's getting more and more important. Um, I know both me and I obviously work in international education, but like before I worked here, I worked in a marketing agency, my experience also helped me in that job, and because we had a lot of marketing in South America, so I had great experience for that. So there's a question in the chat that said, "What would you say is the best part about studying abroad?" That's such a good question, but so hard to answer. There's so many great things. Kind of like we were talking about. One of my best things was becoming more independent and like gaining that international perspective. It really formed my views as a person. There were so many things historically that I had no idea. Like, I don't know if other people know this, but like South America was part of the world. A lot of the South American countries were a part of World War I and II. We just don't talk about it. So like, there was just so much I learned. But also besides that, the like meeting the people in the foreign country and like getting to know them, their culture, and then also the food. I'm a big foodie, so all the food. There's just such a great like range of food and just trying new things. So, what about you, Nee?
Yeah, I think if I had to break it down to three things, the top three things, the best thing about stay abroad. First one, I actually lived with a host family. So I still connected with them, all the friends that I made there. So wherever I go in the world, I know someone from there. So I know if I were to land in that country, I'll be perfectly fine because like I said, we still keep in contact, even though it's been almost 16 years since I've seen them, but we still keep in contact. That's the great thing about that. Like you're gonna build those long-lasting relationships when we get there. My host sister now, she works for CNN International, so for Japan. And if it wasn't for COVID, I was gonna go to Japan this year because she had tickets to get into any of the events that to go see the Olympics. I was like, oh my gosh, I had all the opportunity, but because of COVID, it ruined my whole plan. So again, it's great to have those kind of hookups. I have friends that work at different places, so they told me like, anytime, come visit. I'll take you to all the different places, best places to see. You don't have to worry about hotels or anything. You can stay at my house. I was like, oh, this is great. Um, of course, the food. Oh my gosh, the different types of the foods. Like, I think when I was in Japan, I think I was like, I can't eat any sushi here in the United States anymore because I had the best sushi in Japan. Ramen. Oh my gosh, ramen is delicious. Like I got addicted to ramen. I could eat it every day if I wanted to, but it's like ramen in Japan is so much different than, of course, the ramen here. But the authentic foods, like you get to try, and you know, like lastly was just like be able to learn, to get this experience so that when I do my own traveling, self-traveling, you're already well prepared. You know exactly what you do. You want to plan to do something, you know how transportation works, because again, most transportation from around the world all work very similar. They take you where you want to go. You just got to figure out when you want to go and go about it. So learning the language and culture is really nice because once you learn one, learn the other ones isn't as bad, and you get that feel for it to sit there like, well, I want to be able to do this and I want to do this, and then seeing all the different sites you get to see. Like I said, I was located in Nagasaki, so I actually got to see the museum there in Nagasaki, what happened in the World War. So it was really nice. So again, you get to be a part of that, you get to feel that, and then you get to share that experience with people. Like even my wife, she knows more about Japan because that's all I talk about is Japan, 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 Japan. That's all she hears about. But she's like, take me there. I want to hear how great it is. And I told her like, yeah, we'll plan the next future to do that. So that's what
Yeah.
I love about the study abroad piece. You will get to meet other people, and you're gonna build those long-lasting connections.
Yeah, definitely the connections is a big piece because you're not studying abroad just with people from the U.S. So short-term faculty life, that's usual. But on other programs, like there's people from around the country. I have friends that are from Mexico, from France, from Germany, from obviously from Argentina where I studied, but like from all over. So like I know I have a place to stay in multiple places. So like those connections are like really vital as well. A question in the chat was, how will we access the recording of this meeting? We will post it to our SharePoint site. I will also upload it to our YouTube page. It probably will take me either till tomorrow or sometime early next week to get that up, but we will have that recording up for you guys. One more thing, we have 5 minutes, so if you have questions, please enter them in the chat or speak up. I do want to say we have a Facebook page and an Instagram page, so please follow those. We post cool travel pictures or different things about different programs. So I just entered the link to our Facebook page. Otherwise, you can search UW-Platteville Education Abroad. Our Instagram handle is UW-Platt-EA, but I'll also put that link in the chat and the username. So please feel free to ask some questions here if you have any.
Kind of a dumb question. Hello?
Say that again. I can't hear you. The question.
Kind of a dumb question, sorry.
Oh, okay.
No dumb questions.
No
Okay.
dumb questions here.
So for countries outside of the languages taught in the normal UW and like high school systems, like you obviously want to learn like some of the language before you get there, as for like respectful reasons and like just to being there. It's really cool to learn a new language.
Yeah.
Do you have any programs or any like outlooks or wherever where you can like start to like get your feet wet and like start to like learn the basics of languages depending on what country you go to?
Yeah, my favorite is Duolingo. There are probably many that you can find on the web. You can probably Google, but the main one I've used is Duolingo. I use it to keep up on my Spanish a little bit sometimes, but I also have tried starting to learn Portuguese and Italian. They have a bunch of different languages, so that's the one I definitely like. That's like free and easy to get started, and if you're consistent with it, it can really help. Otherwise, there's like paid programs like Rosetta Stone or things like that, but I'm not as familiar with that.
I know on campus here we have, if you're interested in learning Chinese, there is the Confucius Institute that if you're interested and want to learn about Chinese and learn Chinese culture, they have that here on campus at UW-Platteville. So if you're interested, they do have, I believe it's free. It's free courses that you can take just to learn basic, Chinese, just a few, it's something that you meet weekly with. I would check with the Confucius Institute to see if they offer that and when they offer that. So that's one way to get started as well too, if you're looking into maybe learning Chinese.
Thank you.
No, great
Well,
question.
thank you guys.
Thank you.
And a student asked what the YouTube channel is. I put that link in there, and then our username or whatever is UW-Platt EDU abroad. So that's where you'll find. We also have we held a virtual education abroad fair a couple weeks ago. We recorded all those sessions. They don't have all our programs, but they have a lot of the exchange and UW-Platteville Education Abroad options. So you can go and look at those as well. Yeah. Any last minute questions? We have like 2 minutes. No? All right, you definitely can reach out to us. You can reach out. I put our emails in the chat. Reach out to us personally. Otherwise, our office email is studyabroad@uwplatt.edu. Obviously, Facebook and Instagram to follow. And then I can't recommend checking out our website enough because that's where you'll really be able to dig into all the details.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us here today. And we appreciate you coming in and asking questions and joining with us. And we hope that you learned something that you'd be interested in wanting to have a study abroad experience. So thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome.